Welcome back to the Fortify Fitness Collective podcast. We have a very, very, very special guest today. I am Marlo, of course, owner of Fortify Fitness Collective, and I am joined first by Mike, Mustache Mike, as we call him, from CrossFit OYL in Hazlet, Texas, or whatever, one of the three areas that you claim out there in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He is, of course, a gym owner. He has a HYROX under his belt. Is that correct? One HYROX under your belt?
No,
Race under your
one
belt?
HYROX.
One HYROX under his belt. The master of programming, the master of implementing, Mustache Mike. Thanks for joining.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And then also, we got a twofer for the people. We got Boz from CrossFit DieHard in Daytona Beach, Florida. The man with the mullet, the man with the plan. Also has another HYROX underneath his belt. This one happened to drag my ass around the gym, the center for a while, but we managed out in a fourth place finish in the age division. Might I add, Superman. We got Boz from CrossFit DieHard. Thanks for
What's
joining us,
up,
Boz.
guys? Yeah, happy to be here.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. And we all know each other. We're all part of an elite group. I'll call it elite group.
Elusive.
An elite group in the BLG. That's how we all met each other. But stay in touch. Good friends in there. Unless you guys want to add anything to that.
People need to find out on their own anything after that.
Yeah, for sure. But here, we're really here to talk about some HYROX. So HYROX is, well, let's talk about that. What the heck is HYROX? If I had to ask you, Boz, how would you explain HYROX to people?
HYROX is a fitness race, super popular right now. Came over from Europe, big over there, and now is pretty popular here. It's long running bias fitness station. The way I like to tell my people about kind of what it is if you took like a Spartan race, mid-distance Spartan race, not the 5K, but the one that's a little bit longer than that, and you replace the obstacles with more classic CrossFit stations or fitness stations. It's kind of a hybrid of that. You could think of it also like a long CrossFit chipper, but just a lot more running involved. And it is a badass event. Like, it is an event, not really a training methodology. So if I'm talking to a group of CrossFitters, how is it different than CrossFit? It's basically a long CrossFit workout with running, but it is a whole event series.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like the way that you said it's an event. It is a badass event. I would agree with that. Did you have anything to add to that, Mike?
Yeah. You guys know what HYROX stands for, right? You know what the acronym is?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Of course.
hamstrings yelling, rabs over, x-rays needed. So that's what it stands for. So I just didn't know if everybody listening knew what HYROX actually meant or what the word even was. But yeah, I like to view it as a race or an event, I think of it personally more as that like destination. Like, it's the race, it's the event, it's something to shoot for. I know it's been turned into, people want to train for it, so they treat it as a training methodology. I tend to look at it a little bit more as the event or the end result, rather than, I view CrossFit, and we'll probably get into this later, but CrossFit more as a training methodology, which then turned into the games eventually later, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm all over it. I see it as a race, and I like the mix of that, kind of a blend between something like Spartan, where it's got all the stations and running, but it's got more of the gym-esque movements rather than throwing a javelin as one of the events.
Yeah. You guys think the thing. Go ahead, Boz.
I was going to say, I think the thing that people like about it is that it does not change from competition to competition to event to event. So it is something that you can actually train for. I liken it to like Murph, right? Murph is about an hour-long workout for probably the general CrossFit population. It's something that doesn't change year from year over year. We do Murph on Memorial Day, or maybe you do it some other time, but it's something you can look at and say, CrossFit's going to get me generally prepared for this, but we do a lot more push-ups, pull-ups, and air squats, and maybe a little bit more running. Or if you're going to do it with a weight vest, you train with the weight vest. For those that don't know, Murph is 1 mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and a 100-mile run, named after Michael Murphy. Most CrossFit affiliates will do it on Memorial Day, and a lot of other mill people will do it, just other training people. And so it's something you can actually train for every single year. And it's probably for most affiliates, one of the longest workouts they do for a year. Seeing how people like it's like, okay, I know what I'm walking into for 8, 12 weeks out, so I can actually train for it. Versus if you're signing up for a CrossFit comp, maybe it has 4 WODs in a day or 6 events over 2 days. You might find out one 8 weeks out, one 7 weeks out, one 6 weeks out. You don't really know what you're getting yourself into. And so one of the bigger differences is that this is unchanged over the time, and you can go and you can physically prepare for everything that you're going to do while you're there at the event.
Yeah, it's more repeatable than some of the CrossFit stuff. Even when they repeat an open workout, it just doesn't always feel exactly the same. But every course is supposed to be a little different in terms of length. Some of them supposedly race long or race short, but it's basically the same thing though. So you can actually compare results if I go do the race again next year, just like you said for Murph.
Yeah, 100%. So what got you, and this is a question for both of you, what got you into HYROX, and did that come before offering HYROX in the gym? Or did you offer it and got into it? Like what got you started? What made it appealing for you?
I think Boz, you went first on it, didn't you? Before me?
I think that I was an affiliate before you, but I think because of the area you were in, you were contacted to host a PFT before I had got into it. But I think I did affiliate before you. I know for me, we're all like OGs in the space. We've been around. Like I started CrossFit in 2000 and no, I'm sorry, 2000. That was my gym when I moved here. I started CrossFit February 14th of 2008. So we're looking at like 17 plus years in the CrossFit space. And then I started lifting weights in 8th grade, playing sport. Like I've been doing this a long time. And so for me, I mean, CrossFit is constantly varied. It's functional. Like you're not going to get super bored, but like I've been doing CrossFit for 17 years now. Marlo, I interrupted you, but you asked if anyone had done a Spartan. I actually, right before I found HYROX, we did a Spartan race. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like, I want to do this. Like, I want to use my CrossFit training to get outside of the CrossFit gym and to use this somewhere. And so I did the one in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Stadium in the middle of summer. It was like 100 degrees. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, this is great. Like, it was so hard, hot, sweaty everywhere. But like, it was cool to do something different. And so I was looking for a place to use my fitness. I'm 38. I'm a high mileage 38. Like, I got a shoulder, I got a back thing. Like, I can't lift as heavy as I used to. My strength more is maintenance now. And so, like, showing up to a CrossFit competition, there's always a max. There's always like heavy stuff. And like, I want to be able to push myself if I'm competing. I don't want to go in and be like, all right, I'm going to take it easy on this event, especially if I'm on a team. That's about the only way I'll compete now. And so with the HYROX, like all the movements, I feel fully comfortable going 100% on. Like, there's not a movement that I'm like, I need to be careful here so I don't like tweak this thing or whatever. And so I saw that and I was like, oh, okay, like I'm a competitor. I love competing. I'm going to go try this thing. I'm going to have to get a little better at running. And then I see from my gym perspective, a lot of people are looking to train for a HYROX because like it is super popular right now. And that was why I kind of went into the affiliate. They put you on the affiliate map. Like I was interested in it and I knew a lot of other people were as well.
Yeah, we got contacted a while back. It's all running together now. Probably 2.5 years prior, I think, to when we affiliated to host a PFT, which for those that don't know, it's kind of just like a mini version of HYROX meant to be done in a gym. It's kind of more of a promo thing for HYROX to get people hyped up about it and sign up for a race. But we had our affiliate rep in the area just contacted us, was looking for a place to host it, to get the word out about HYROX and grow the sport. And she knew somebody who knew us, whatever. We hosted it. I was like, this is kind of cool. We had some members sign up for, at that time, there was a race in Fort Worth. They signed up for the Fort Worth race. This was back when you could get tickets all the way up until the week before. and did that. I personally just had a conflict that weekend with something, I forget what it was, but just that I couldn't make it to that one. And then same for that year's in the fall, Dallas, I had something else that was going on that weekend. But I had a couple of members do it, and I started to see some of that interest of, I don't know, whether it's buzz online or just it being a buzzword and the sport growing, and they're adding cities and it's growing here in the US. And so, yeah. And then it was kind of more just a cool thing at that time. A couple members did it here, had a fun experience, said it was great. I was interested. I can't say that I was interested in doing something like Spartan. I love the idea that, Boz, you said of we've been doing CrossFit for so long. We want to go show off that we're the best fitness thing and go test it in these other avenues or these other sports. I love that idea. I don't know why I don't do that more often. I love the concept of it, but I liked this instead of like the Spartan or the Tough Mudder or some of those other obstacle course staples, but something that we could feel like we could train for here in the gym. Like we don't have a cargo net in the gym that I'm going to train for one of the other ones, which is fine,
Yeah.
but like we just don't do that. And so I like the idea that it's like, oh, at the simplest level, I can sprinkle in a little bit more running and just go figure it out on the fly. And this is something I could jump into and test my fitness and mix it up to what Boz was saying, mix it up a little bit. It's not, again, CrossFit is constantly varied, but there is still a consistency to it when you've been doing it for a while. So I love the newness aspect of it. And then, so we affiliated. I think there was I think it's worth it just to get on the mat. We had some people looking on our website interested in it. And I think that's cool as well. So what really locked me in was going to the race. And it was before the race even started, but going to the race and the event, and that part was cool. But I remember looking around at just all the people that were there while I was just waiting in line to get my ankle typing chip thing. And I was just looking around at all the people and I was like, yeah, this is super popular. This is for sure on the trending side of the market. And this seems like a cool, fun, new thing to be a part of, to make sure that we're a part of for the success of the business, but also it reflects what people in our area are looking for. And I've seen that huge growth, at least locally, since we have a race that's local to us. It's huge, it's growing, and we just are nonstop getting people interested in how to train and members asking like, hey, how do I train for that and CrossFit? And so it's fun to answer that question, but also provide an avenue where they can more specifically train for it rather than just, oh, just try it out as a test. So yeah, that's how I kind of got into it more specifically was we just got reached out to randomly, hosted a couple of PFTs and really liked it, saw where the sport was going and felt like that was something worth getting a part of. Then personally doing it, absolutely locked in, super fun. And we have a HYROX class twice a week now, kind of 3 times, but I'm actually finding myself looking forward to that class more than some of the other classes. And so I'm really excited, really enjoying the group that we have that's turning into a little HYROX club, gym within the gym. And I've really enjoyed that.
Nice. Taking a like first race experience. I mean, I got into it because someone told me I had to. Oz.
I signed us up, Marlo. You can either show up or you can make me do the partner workout by myself. But we're signed up.
Yeah, exactly. No one would to say no. And I went, well, yeah, I know I went pretty much kicking and streaming. For myself, I looked at HYROX and I was like, that's like my marathon. This was before running it. Like I would never, like something I would never do. I've never run a marathon. I don't plan on doing it, but it's like that's the level it was at in my mind. And then like it was like going through the training in that, which I mind you, we were doing in the middle of winter in Wisconsin for myself. That trade was fine, but kind of like you said, Mike, like once I got there and kind of the people around and the vibe. I mean, they throw a really good event, like hands down, just a really, really good event. And that part alone is awesome. But like actually getting through it and being like, oh yeah, I kind of actually do like this after in the finish line. Leading the whole journey, revisionist history, the whole journey was a good part of that.
The journey included a screenshot that he sent me of his weather app, and it said 31 degrees in Waunakee, and the text was, finally got some decent weather to go running. And I was like, man, it dropped into the 60s, and I'm over here complaining about how cold it is to run outside. And my boy Marlo, 31, it's like, oh, finally I can get out and go for a run.
Yeah. Yeah. I think up until that point, we had been dealing with, if you included wind chill, under zero for, I think it was at that point, 12 days straight. It's finally get ready to go out there. But yeah, as we both mentioned, obviously we all own CrossFit affiliates, but you guys got to both mention doing CrossFit and testing that out in other avenues than just a CrossFit competition or just CrossFit classes. But what is kind of some like, I guess we talk about kind of how they complement each other, but like what are the key differences? And when you say, hey, I have CrossFit, I have HYROX, I want to do a HYROX, but like, I'm a CrossFitter doing HYROX or I'm a HYROXer doing CrossFit, but like, what are some of those key differences, would you say? If any? Great question.
I think there's way more carryover than the general CrossFit population thinks, and way more carryover than the HYROX population thinks. The biggest difference, Boz already said it, it's longer than we're going to traditionally do workouts here in the affiliate. And it's going to have a lot more running, but kind of the same category. But their movements most affiliates are likely already doing at some point on a weekly basis, with the exception of maybe sleds, but most gyms have sleds or work on that. So I think it literally boils down to the time domain and then the extra running of it. I really don't think there's that many. They're like gigantic differences that don't revolve around that. In terms of the actual race itself versus, I don't know. I guess if you compare it to a CrossFit competition, that would be 3 or 4 workouts or floater or something like that. But in terms of comparing it to, hey, just pick a random CrossFit workout, that's the real difference, is the length.
Yeah. But you said it earlier too. Again, when we talk about this, so you said it like CrossFit is a methodology, HYROX is a race, right? So we're using that methodology to prepare for race. I guess this is in my eyes, using that methodology to prepare for the race. And if we're preparing specifically for HYROX race, there's different, you're adding it, right? We're adding just like longer time domains, maybe different modality. Because when we look at the race, it's just, we got running, lunging, hinging, right? Like you said, and pushing, really things we do pretty much all day, every day inside of a CrossFit gym.
I would say
very accessible.
Yeah, go for it.
But you go ahead and finish up and then I'll go.
I would say just one technical point. I was talking to somebody the other day about grip, about how like in CrossFit, I mean, 98% of what we do is some sort of pronated grip, right? You got your hand over, whether it's a deadlift, clean, snatch, pull-ups, toes to bar. And we were talking about how rope climbs and farmer carries feel like some of the only things in CrossFit where we even start to supinate a little bit or even neutralize our grip. It was just a random point. But I was like, yeah, actually, kind of most of the movements in HYROX, you get that more neutral grip. And I just thought that was kind of an odd thing, like the ski erg, a little bit more neutral grip, right? The sled push, you're holding on to poles that are pushing. The sled pull obviously is a little more underhanded. And then farmer carry. I just thought that was like a random, interesting thing of one of those small critiques people have had over the years about CrossFit being a little too stuck in that pronated grip. I just thought that was a very interesting random comment. I don't think it's that big a deal in terms of the race and performance, but just a random other difference.
At a macro level, Marlo kind of started talking about the event is kick ass. Like people that don't like it or say they don't like it or like look at all the running and be like, meh, or they're CrossFit purists and they're like, meh. You walk in and you're like, I get it now. You don't even
100%.
have to make it inside of the facility before you're like, okay, I get it. They have hundreds of volunteers. The difference in a CrossFit event that anyone can go sign up for and a HYROX event is you go to your local affiliate that has super dirty floors. They're hosting 4th competition this year. It's 3 WODs and a floater. It's got the same gym members volunteering. It's in a gym. Like there's not much special about it. Meaning you can go do it every day. You can just sign up to go to it. This was the one that Marlo and I did, was in the Miami like International Convention Center. This thing is massive. You can't, so you walk in, they have 20, 30-foot banners, branding. You get your swag, you get your chip, you get a check-in experience that feels a lot more high level than walking into an affiliate with a folding table. And not that there's anything wrong with this, and I'm just saying just the difference. We have a big competition here every year called the Atlantic Coast Classic. It's in a convention center. It has 2,000 athletes, and you get to compete in a double-decker stadium. I try and get as many people to go do it as possible because normally you have to travel, spend a lot of money, and or like qualify to do this.
Yeah.
The HYROX, you can sign up for it, and you walk in. They've got the music bumping. They have that Red Bull Batmobile like car. The sponsors are crazy. Like the music is cool. The corral that they put you in has TV screens. It's blacked out. They're doing like a mindset breathing thing with you. And you got a bunch of animals in there that have been doing this forever, that have been like in our thing. There was CrossFit Games athletes. There was CrossFit Regionals athletes there, and we all felt that excitement again of something that we haven't felt in years. And they're like getting us pumped up and like telling us what to do. and I'm like doing the breathing thing. I'm getting excited just thinking about it, like
Yeah,
goosebumps. And I haven't
100%.
felt
I
that
know.
way. Like, I mean, I got like
Yeah.
my hair standing up on my arms, and it's like they play like a hype video, and they're sending you out, and it's like this is feelings you haven't had in a while because like they do such a good job with the event itself.
Yeah.
And so difference between CrossFit and that, I imagine that the games, that semifinals, Wadapalooza, all these events are very similar. I competed in Wadapalooza in 2017. I did the Atlantic Coast Classic and it was nothing. I mean, it was hype, but it was not like this. And that's one of the biggest events in our area. So the experience you're getting is that of something you would normally have to qualify for, travel for, or be really good. And they also ask you a finish, like it is like you can do open or pro. That's really it. But they ask you what your guest finish time was. So like, it's not me in there, me and Marlo aren't in there with people that are going to take 2-3 hours to do it. Right. Like it's all people that have like appropriate level to you. And they're putting people on the course every 10 minutes. Like every 10 minutes, a new heat goes out and they're assuming that about that many people are finishing up. It was fine. They have slow lane, fast lane. So as the event is, you normally can't just sign up for something like this until now. Like you get to just go do it. You don't even have to qualify. On like the affiliate training level, if you took a Venn diagram, if you took those 1,000 people at that HYROX, if you took people that only trained for HYROX and threw them into a CrossFit competition, they are going to struggle. If you took people that trained for CrossFit and you threw them into a HYROX race, they will not struggle on anything except for maybe the run. When we first started our affiliation as part of like the hype content, I texted one of the guys at the gym. I said, "Hey, I need you to be here at noon on Tuesday."
Oh,
This was in June. We had done no training, only CrossFit, hadn't started. I said, "Hey, we are going to do a full HYROX in the 100-degree heat just to show like the efficacy of our training here at CrossFit." No training. He didn't know. I hadn't started doing any extra running, only what we did in CrossFit class. And me and him, we did the open division. We didn't do the pro division. And we did it in the heat. We had Louisa film it. I was actually the liability on round 7 and 8. I cramped up. I had to walk. My legs were locked up. The hydration part was there and the lack of running experience. But we did finish in like an hour and 20 minutes. And we were probably on pace to finish in like an hour and 4 or 5 minutes if I hadn't gotten all cramped up. So the people that are looking to train for HYROX versus the people that are looking to train for CrossFit, you're leaving a lot on the table. HYROX is just a small part of what we do in CrossFit. And you're going to be super, super well prepared by just adding extra running. I'll shut up now and let you guys go ahead too. I have more, but you know.
No, I think going back to, you brought a good point of you don't need to, like, this isn't something you need to qualify for, right? We had people from like games level athletes, obviously, all the way down to there's these people we met that were just like, yeah, it's our first one. We just signed up, right? Like no training. And they were super excited to just finish, right? And then we also like a funny story too, when you were talking about you tell your time or whatever, and they send every 10 minutes. But me and Bob's were in our heat. There was the heat or two before us, so they were still in the rounds at the same time. They had completed they were doing a world record while we were on the damn course. We were talking about slow lane, fast lane. We just had to keep getting out of the way of these two hooligans who were like, I think it was like 45 minutes, some crazy, whatever it was in the doubles. But let's just go to show you, like, yeah, it's kind of accessible to everyone. You don't have to qualify. You literally just have to sign up and then kind of go at what your pace is and what you want to complete there. And I think that part is pretty awesome because a lot of times we'll get, and myself included, to be honest, when I first got in this journey of like, oh man, I do CrossFit. This is too much. There's no way I'm going to do it. There's no way I could be able to do that. But doing the CrossFit training, adding in your running, which it's, in my opinion, a lot more running than I was than I was expecting. It is a running event in my mind that happens to have stops in the middle of it, and being able to complete that. So that's a long way of showing that like really anyone can do it. It's just degrees of what you want to do this race in, just like anything, right?
I went to another gym in the area a couple of weeks ago, probably about a month ago. They have a HYROX class. And I was like, yeah, let's come hang. We'll go train. And I know the owners and we'll hang out sometimes. And I remember the workout, it was super long. It was, I say super long. From a CrossFitter's perspective, it was super long, like a 45-minute workout. And one of the things, the way that they were sharing the sled throughout the workout was like, hey, it was a partner workout and each of us had to push it 6 times total throughout. So just like whenever you wanted to go over the sled station, that's how they shared their sled. And there was a couple of higher level athletes there. Those that a couple of people that had qualified for worlds and some stuff like that before or currently. And I remember, I mean, listen, they kicked my butt on absolutely everything in terms of the conditioning, length of it, very much in the runner side. But when we got to the sled, I mean, they were loading up the sled, stacking plates on top of it to where like you push it too hard, it would tip over. And they were struggling with it and they were really pushing themselves, which is cool and great. And I was like, hey, like, can I hop in? I just walked over and pushed it all the way down. And I walked away from that experience with the comment that Boz made about those that do exclusively HYROX or HYROX training. There's a lot that they're leaving on the table, especially on the strength side of the spectrum. But as an encouragement to, I assume most of the people listening here, a little bit more on the CrossFit side, like you are way better prepared for this event than you think. Yes, the running stuff, and we'll talk about that, but like you are so well prepared that, and I am not this just like strongest person that's ever existed thing either. Like I just walked over and I was like, I pushed, it was hard, but like just walked over and pushed the sled relative to that. And so like you just have like, as a CrossFitter that's been doing this for enough years and you're trained up and like that's what you're doing, you are so much more capable of doing an event like this than you think. And I love that it's that accessible to everyone. I love that comment. But to those that are CrossFitters, like you can, there's an extent of you can just kind of hop in and do it if you want to. And I think that's a really cool thing of kind of a nod to the training that we've all done for the years we had with that. And I enjoy that. Like we both said, like I enjoy trying to take our training and seeing what other sports it applies to. It's fun to take it outside the gym and we always forget what that's like until we do it.
So if you had a program, before HYROX existed as the thing, and it wasn't like something that some people might consider a competition to CrossFit, if you guys as gym owners had said, hey, this is July 4th, typically we do a longer partner workout. You could have written this as a Saturday partner workout on like one of those challenging days and no one would have batted an eye. Like it is a CrossFit workout. Like,
yeah, they wouldn't have been offended that you came up with some new workout or something. Yeah.
And so really by training CrossFit, remove the name CrossFit, we're training GPP. CrossFit just happens to be the best general physically preparedness program. And this is something that will test your GPP. The funniest thing about when we did, so we joined in like June and we hosted one in October in-house, had a lot of people from outside our gym sign up to do it. And we had a lot of people in the gym that were still kind of like whatever that, or like, wow, I don't know if I can do that. And like the people that were like intermediate to advanced were like, wow, that's a lot of running. The funny thing is we had a lot of beginners sign up for it and use it as training motivation. And they finished just by like their few months or a year of doing CrossFit at a beginner level, they were able to finish it. And wanted to say something towards what Marlo said too. It really makes a difference if you sign up for singles or doubles. So if you sign, like when me and Marlo did doubles together, it really is all running. Because how many times are we only going to have to do 1,000 meters on the rower, 1,000 meters on the skier, like a few feet with 70s, the farmer's carry, and like as far as what we're used to just by being regular CrossFitters, quarterfinal level CrossFitters, the stations are a joke, especially if you're splitting them with someone really good. It does become like a running event. And so Mike does HYROX a little different than I do. And kind of talking about like so when I came in, I'm trying to understand, they send me like training templates when I signed up. And it's like, okay, I'm looking at this as, okay, you have a full strength session here. We have compound lifts. We have accessory lifts. We have bodybuilding in the HYROX program. We have interval day where it's running sprint intervals, rowing sprint intervals. Okay, we do that in my every week. We do strength training every week. Now we have a 25-minute AMRAP WOD. They don't call it a WOD, but it's like a 25-minute AMRAP twice a week. I'm like, okay, well, we do 1:30 on Saturday and we do a 30 on Tuesday. It's the same. The only thing that is in the HYROX template that we didn't have on a weekly basis at DieHard. And I come from a strength and conditioning background before CrossFit, so maybe I program a little different. Well, a lot of people program periodized stuff in their CrossFit gym, but was at a 1 hour cardio zone 2-ish type of day, which I now program every Sunday, an hour long of like a combo of machines running. And then when you get closer to a race, some of the movements, but when you're not training for a race, it's normally that. And then they have a 40, probably like closer to what you did, like a 45-minute AMRAP or like a 4 rounds for time that's going to take you 40 plus minutes. So those have been like the two biggest differences in programming leading up to a race. And so right now at the gym, I still don't have like a 40 plus minute day. We go 32 minutes, 30 minutes twice a week. We have strength 3 days a week, both raw and Olympic, with WODs after them. And we have an interval conditioning day, whether it's running some cycles, rowing some cycles, bike, or a combo some cycles. And then the Sunday is the hour-long day. And so that is literally the templates HYROX sent to me. And I'm like, this is my CrossFit template with 1 to 2 extra things. And I think when people think of training for HYROX, they're missing the boat if they're only doing some kind of a mock HYROX, like 20 wall balls, 500 run, 20 burpees, 500. Like, is doing 20 wall balls for 3 rounds going to make you great at wall balls? If you're a beginner, maybe. But like my workout next Monday for the gym is 15-calorie row, 15 wall balls, 10 rounds. Like, you're going to get better doing that volume than you are just doing 20 in like a race setting. So I think you have people that want to come into CrossFit or come into HYROX and be like, oh, I want to do a HYROX workout. What day is HYROX? I've actually implemented it to where I have a HYROX variation every single day because HYROXers need strength training. HYROXers need interval training. And we substitute different things and we add more running in there. But to actually train for it, I've just kind of filtered it in every day. And I will say that it has been, I don't want to say a hindrance, but like people coming outside looking for just the HYROX training because they have it in their mind. It needs to be like run wall ball, run row, run ski, run sled, run this. Like, yes and no. Like, there's 2 different ways to do it. This is how I've done it. I don't have exclusive like HYROX classes. I almost think to generate buzz and to get more external people, it would be better to be like, all right, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at this time is like HYROX class. If I actually physically named it that, I think it might be more to generate buzz. But my members and people that know that have gone and done HYROX, they were all like, wow, I did way better than I thought it was going to be harder. Like, I'm like, yeah, we've prepared you well. Like, you're ready.
Yeah. Just a couple of weeks ago, we added in some HYROX only classes, and the full honesty version is I was wanting it to create some buzz and grab the attention of those that are more exclusively in the HYROX realm by themselves and a way to apply it once they get here. Now, every single time is, it's not 500 run, 20 wall ball, something like that. We're still doing different versions of it, but to be able to kind of brand it and market it a little bit more, I think it's been nice. And we've been able to have some members join. And it's funny enough, we've had a couple of people join the HYROX only version of our membership, which is a single class Tuesday, a single class on Friday option. And then basically we do Thursdays, kind of how Boz is saying, where Thursday we adapt the workout to any version that you're looking for. And so you can adapt it to HYROX. So they have access to those 3 days. Well, we've had people get 2 weeks into I'm HYROX only, and then they're already sniffing around looking at the other classes like, what's all this stuff? I'm like, yeah, this is what I meant when I said you needed more strength training. And so I like it. And from the business perspective, I see it a little bit as like a funnel marketing to kind of a capture. But when somebody gets here in person, the conversation I have with them is exactly a version of what Boz was just saying of like, hey, we probably need a little bit more well-roundedness to our fitness just to take care of our bodies, to be better at these movements than to just do a half HYROX every week, or just run. Like, just running is cool, but like we got to be able to figure out some of this other stuff. And so I've already had people get like 1 or 2 weeks into a HYROX only membership and then upgrade to a CrossFit membership. So getting the full schedule is nice for them too, but I'll just have that conversation of like, hey, we should probably train some strength so you can take care of your body and you'll be stronger and easier at the movements. Like, you're not going to get extremely stronger, or the sled's not going to get extremely easier just by pushing sleds all the time. Like, What if we deadlifted and back squatted a little bit and saw where that went? We're probably going to get more out of that side of it. So yeah, so I'm kind of doing kind of the opposite of what Boz was saying, of using that as a way to capture people. But the conversation I have with them is, hey, like if you really want to get fit, here's how I would upgrade it. And then that way you can just use maybe 2 of these days a week, get your fix, get your 45+ minute fix out of it, of the longer thing. Kind of like his Sunday. We just, as he describes his Sunday, as this hour-long workout. We do that one on Tuesdays at 7:15 a.m. and it's an hour and 15 long class. We do a 10-minute quick jumping jack, stretch, warm up, whatever, and then we're basically into a 60-minute AMRAP, EMOM, intervals, partner, whatever type of thing there. So yeah, I agree with all that.
Yeah, and then I get from what you're saying, because you probably, and then maybe Mike, maybe Boz, you've had this too, of kind of like that person or people that are looking for HYROX training, quote unquote, but like some of the common undertrained areas. You both said, we need the strength piece, right? Like that's what we get out of those CrossFit.
Especially if you're doing individual. That was a solid point that Boz made earlier.
Yeah.
Partner version, you kind of get by without it. Now, I don't recommend that from a bike standpoint, but
yeah. But yeah, okay. So, but yeah, is there any other commonly untrained areas, maybe even misconceptions out there that needs to be trained?
If you are a CrossFitter, you need to run.
Yeah.
Especially if you are a CrossFitter of a year plus at a good gym, one of our gyms,
Yeah, clearly.
If you are a runner, you probably need to do strength training and CrossFit, if you come into it with that running background. So I think the people that are runners or like hybrid athletes or whatever that haven't done much CrossFit, and they come in to your gym looking for HYROX, like you just said, having that conversation with them, hey, listen, like you have the endurance, you have the capability to go long, and you've been doing running. The best way you're going to improve your time is to actually get stronger and lift more compound weights so you don't struggle with the sled. So the 100 wall balls are no problem for you. So the lunges are easy for you. So the kettlebells aren't heavy. But if you guys are trying to bring this to your CrossFit gym people, you need to be able to go long and be used to that. And that doesn't always have to be running only. Like you can mix in a lot of machine work with that, but you also have to be able to handle that running volume. And which I will say, like I train in the heat most of the year. Marlo was training in like 9 degrees, 31 degree, whatever. Like it's nice to do it. And I felt
controlled.
I felt so much better in the climate controlled event than I did even in the training leading up to it. It was only April. Like it was nice. But yeah, so it depends on what your background is coming in of what you need to do.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Oh, gotta close out here because we didn't even go over like what exactly the race format is. Probably should have done that at the beginning. Oh well. But I wanted to go through each station or each format and like we could grade it on a scale of 1 to 5 on your feelings about it. 1 being the worst, 5 being the best as you go through. So I'll go with that first run. That first run's awesome. I give that a 5 because it was short and
it's short.
It's short and like Bob was saying,
and you're pumped up.
Exactly. You're coming off that tent. You're coming off the tent, and then you hit the skier. Where do you guys put the skier? 1,000-meter ski.
Mike, have you done one solo or only team?
Only double. Yeah.
Did you train with your partner leading up to it? Or you guys had never raced together before?
He's a coach at my gym. So I wouldn't say that we train HYROX the way that we've just been talking the last 20 minutes. But I mean, we partner up on Saturdays or usually work out in the same class. Like we know each other in terms of when the other person probably needs a second or we would need to switch. And let's say a partner Saturday scenarios, I know that look on his face. He knows that look on my face. So no, we hadn't trained in that sense, but yeah, we've trained together and we kind of know each other's styles and what the other one would need or how to bias each other's strengths and weaknesses. We already knew that going in. Not like you guys on a blind date fitness edition.
Well, you're doing a partner workout, and even on like a given Saturday, you don't necessarily know. You might have an idea, but like the whole months leading up to it, I'm like, Marlo beat me by just a little bit on every single open workout. Not a lot, but like a couple reps, a couple seconds. And I'm like, it's very, very, very unlikely that we're both going to show up in like the exact same shape. Like somebody's going to get drug around this event. And I don't want
Yeah.
it to be, and I don't want it to be me. Like with everything in me, I didn't want it to be me. And so, like you said, we did that first run, and then he got on the skiers, killing the skier. I get on the skier, and we get on that second run. So, like well, I'll stop there. The first run, 5, absolutely. The skier, no problem. Arms and core were good.
Kind of fun. Yeah, kind of
Yeah.
fun because it's upper body. It's like the only upper body you really get to do.
Smiling for pictures still.
Yeah. Yeah. So skier was a 5 for me.
Yeah.
I'd say 5 as well. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. All right. And then you had your second K into sled push, right? Yeah, sled push. Like the push was a 4, but go ahead.
I would say I remember training the sled. Every sled is different. Every carpet's different. Every lane is different. Apparently, we've all seen all those videos
Worlds.
at this point.
Yep.
Yeah. And so there's a little unknown. That was the only thing that I was not nervous about going into. That was the only unknown for me going into it, was how heavy is this sled going to feel on game day? And I watched people. We were watching the heats ahead of us, just like before we walked over to the start. We were just like, watching the people ahead of us. And I was like, those guys are just walking with it. It looks super easy there. And so I will say the sled was 1 notch harder than I thought it was going to be, but I wouldn't label it hard. So I like the 4 rating for that one. It was just 1 notch harder than I expected based on what I was watching other people do. But maybe I was also 2 runs into it I probably ran the first 2 a little faster than we should have because the adrenaline's pumping. But no, not hard at all. Not that big a deal.
I've never been on a sled like that. I have the Rogue Butcher football sled called a Prowler. So it's the 2 poles, and it's got 3 feet, and the poles are wider. I didn't think that I had to really adjust my body angle pushing it. I was getting stuck a little bit, not because of that, what they were saying, but probably because I had never been on a sled like that before. But I will say the adrenaline was still there. I was jacked up. I attacked that sled like I attacked a butcher. And that sled has a 5th pole that holds the plates right in the middle. And I just like attacked it, and I smashed my lip right into the top of that steel pole. Started bleeding. My lip got all busted up. Like it was puffy, and it kind of like knocked out the wind out of me, but it like knocked my brain out a little bit. And I was trying to adjust the sled while I was assessing my situation. So I like the 4. Normally I love like the sled stuff, but yeah, it was not a 5. I'm fighting to rate it lower because I'm the idiot that like face planted into the steel pole.
Nice. After another 1K run, now we're coming back to the sled for a pull. So that sled pull.
I've got this. He was in a training exercise and actually burned his arm pretty decent, but literally caught himself on fire during training exercise about 2.5 weeks prior to the race.
Oh,
and so it's funny, like Moz was saying, like if you start looking at the open scores or like how do we measure up in fitness, that was the feeling I had. I was like, man, this dude's like 5 to 10% fitter than I am, and I've had this in my head leading up to the race. So even to this point in the race, I'm still in my head of like, I got to play catch up to this guy. Like I got to be on my best performance today to make sure I'm not holding him down everywhere. Well, because of that, he did not train at all. Some of it was he was not allowed to train. Some of it was he didn't want to train. He couldn't get it sweaty. He's trying to get to heal. If his boss is watching this, he did not train at all during that time. I don't even know if he was supposed to race. I think he still needed a couple more days officially before whatever. So he had basically put in on the Wednesday or Thursday before the Saturday, tried to get sweaty in the gym just to kind of see how it went. So this was about the point in which he just fell off the cliff in terms of he just hadn't gotten out of breath in the last 2.5 weeks, which was comical. So I run in, kind of the way that we had done it was I was typically first on the thing and then he was second. At least that's how we did the last sled. So I come running in, I run over, I pick our lane, boom, boom, boom. I pull the sled and I look over to him like, hey, like, let's go run down to the other side so you can pull it. And he walks down to the other side. And I was kind of like, dude, are we going? What are we doing? And so he half skipped jog. He's like, I was like, you okay? He's like, oh yeah, kind of like gets back to it. He pulls it and then I go down to my side and I pull it again. I was like, okay, again, same thought as the sled push. I was like, yeah, a little harder than I thought, but like still did it, doable, let's go. And and then I just looked up at him. And that was the point where I already offered. And I went, do you need me to pull the sled? Do you need me to pull the sled? He's like, no, I got it. Well, we walked Well, I got up. The last one was done. I got up and started running and realized he wasn't running with me to like get out of the rock zone. And I kind of turned back and I waited for him. And I was like, "You need to walk?" He's like, "Yeah, we need to walk." So after that, for the rest of the race, we still did the rest of the race. It was fine, but there was that aspect of it. He just wasn't his best self on game day, which was pretty comical. And so it turned for us at that point. It turned into way more of a completion. Let's have fun. We did probably a little bit more talking at that point throughout the race of more towards the casual side than we're trying to race and get a time. But yeah, he looked back at his watch and he never went below like 185 heart rate from that moment. He was just redlined the whole rest of the day. So that was the station that everything changed for us. And I don't think it had anything to do with the station, but it had to do with, what are you, 15 to 20 minutes in at that point? I think that's just when, well, to our point earlier, we started to get beyond the usual CrossFit Metcon that you can kind of suck it up for a 15-minute AMRAP if you have to. So that's our sled pull story.
Because the next one's Burpee broad jumps. That's where it kind of fell apart for myself, if we're honest. We got to that Burpee broad jump, and I think you look down the lane, and it's just long. And then I was
coming from someone that's 6'11". That's
I know. So then,
how long it looks to us.
It is long, and I get into it, and in my head, I know the standard's like it's supposed to be less than a foot in your hands, less than a foot in front of your feet. And I do 2 of those, and by the third one, I literally just fall down, and I'm just like a falling tree into the burpee, and then trying to jump as far as I can each time. But I like burpee broad jump for me is a freaking one, and it's snack dab in the middle, and that's where it starts to be like, okay, we're in the thick of it for myself.
I don't love the standard. I think at a mass event like this where you're trying to keep it, I think you should be able to do it any way you want. And if you think that like, make it 300, you know what I mean? Like let people fall down, let them jump into the next burpee, no problem. And if you want it to take longer, just add 100 meters onto it. Because we had no judge right there. No one's telling you, no, back up because you were 18 inches away, hands to feet. You know what I mean? And so training that way, we always trained like try and keep them close. It is harder. I get it. But like you can make it just as hard. You can make it just as hard without having like a judging issue into it, I guess is what I'll say. But it is one of the hardest stations. Like that one and the lunges for me were the 2 hardest stations when I was practicing. So basically I didn't even practice the other stations. Like every Sunday when I was doing my 1,000-meter runs with my training leading up close was 1,000-meter run plus part of the station, rest 1 minute because I knew I was going to be doing it with a partner. And I literally might have trained the other stations 8 weeks out one time. And then I'm like, no, like the ones that I get kicked in the face in is the burpee broad jumps and the walking lunges. So every week that was it. It was 1,000-meter run, burpee broad jumps. I think I did like 40 meters, rest a minute. 1,000-meter run. I think I did less lunging. I think might have done 20-meter lunge, rest a minute. Because I knew like you said, you're in the middle of it. It's long, like they're tough.
Yeah.
So give it a 3.
Give it a 3. Okay. Look at you.
It's a 1 for me almost no matter what, but for similar reasons you've all stated, pretty much gets a 1 for me no matter what. I will bump it to a 2 or a 3 because again, from my story, that next run for us was very light and I felt way better on game day than I ever did one single time in the last 12 months of doing a burpee. And so I don't know if it was adrenaline. I don't know if I was like, oh, just got to put the team on my back. I got to take one for the team. And so I like of the lengths for us, we went down and back. Is that what y'all did for your course?
Yeah.
So I basically took the first and last third of each length and he just did the middle. So I kind of did like a couple, I gave a couple to him and then he just kind of gave me that look at some point. I was like, all right, I'll finish out this section and I'll start the way back. He did a couple on the way back, kind of gave me the look again and I just finished it out. Normally that probably would have been the opposite for the 2 of us, but I think some of it was just because of the run and kind of the state that he was in. So that ended up not being anywhere near as terrible as I thought, but still, yeah, I think that's the hardest station for me.
Yeah.
Out of all of them. besides running. I'd say the running would be my real harder station. But if we're taking that out in terms of the 8, that's the hardest one for me for sure.
Sure. After that, we got rowing, the 1,000-meter row. And this is the one I was looking forward to, clearly. And then we got there after the burpees, hop on, and all I'm thinking is like, all right, we'll just do what I was doing in training, like around there. But then the person next to me started rowing at 132, 130, right next to me. And I'm like, oh, fuck, now we got to go. And so I tried to keep with them for like 10 strokes. And that was about it. I was like, all right, there's still more race to go. Like, Boz, would you hop on now? But yeah, I mean, the rowing's fine. I like the rowing's 4 at that point.
I like to row. I mean, they give it a 4 or 5. It is what it is,
Mm-hmm.
Nice little 250s or 300s or 343 or 55. It's a nice little break from the run in there.
So we split it up. I came in from the run straight to it, did 250. He did the middle 500, and then I did the final 250. That way that's when we started to switch up our strategy a little bit, trying to protect him a little bit on the runs. And so that was our strategy on that one. Rowing was the most important station because that's when I found my wife in the crowd, and I switched junk headbands, which was a very important part of the race. So
it's key.
Key.
I agree, because I think the row is a little different than the first 1,000-meter on the ski. Yeah, like the part where you settle in, you're in the thick of the race. Whereas the ski, it's like the first part of the race. You're amped up. It's almost like a sprint for people, which people get trapped into. But at the row, you're I don't know. I found it as getting myself back into it. And the next one, you had the farmer's carry, 200-meter farmer carry. This one surprised me because I did not train running with kettlebells, and then Boss took off running with kettlebells. I think he went faster than we were running the actual 1K pace. So that was a surprising part to me, that I was running faster in this part than I was before and chasing him with the kettlebells.
You said, or Mike, you said like you felt better on game day than you ever did with the burpees. I had that happen a couple times where it was like, are these the right weights? I took off like literally sprinting with the kettlebells. I almost rolled my ankle going the fence turn. I was going so fast in those like super cushiony running shoes. There was no support to make like a 90-degree or 180-degree turn. 70s, like you train with that all the time. It's not terrible. And that one, it's kind of sucks because like you said, it's like a lot of the other stations are a reprieve from all the running. This one, I was running faster. Like I was sprinting with 140 pounds. And then like Marlo's running fast too. So like I'm not even resting there. You're basically just a continuation of the run, waited for a little while,
Yeah. That was going to be my exact comment. It was, in my opinion, the easiest station, but it was one of the most tricky stations of that run afterwards. It almost spiked my heart rate more than any of the other stations would. And you wouldn't think of it because it's a carry. Normally we do it probably walking at the gym.
Yep.
Or at least a little half prance to it, I guess. I don't know. That's not the right word, but it's funny enough. So, but yeah, like I thought it was like super easy, but you finished it. We put them down and it's like, oh, we got to go run again. That was what? How long did that take? 60 seconds? You're kind of like, all right, we're already back into it. So my farmer carry story. So they start you in waves, right? Of 10 every 10 minutes. So this was the point in the race where I guess we filled out that we were going to be the slowest possible window. We didn't know what we were doing when we signed up for the race way back when. So I guess that's the heat we got put in. Or maybe we forgot to put it, so they just defaulted us to the last heat. So this was the point in which the next division was catching us, because this is the fastest people for the next division, which was women's pro doubles. Because I was running open, so they were using the same weight. So from the event perspective, they used the same kettlebells. They kind of had all the wall balls set out the same, like that type of thing. So this was the point in which that 10 minutes had disappeared of the lead that we had gotten on them. And we had the girl, we were starting to get passed every once in a while by these girl duos. We're walking. I'm on the right side of the road. I take the kettlebells first. I'm kind of doing the half jog thing to it. And I hear this girl, scream, top of her lungs, screaming behind us. Move, 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 get over, dude. And I'm just kind of like, I looked over my shoulder, like I'm out of the way. There's plenty of space for someone to pass if they need to. It was the person, there was a guy's pair in front of us that he was just walking across the whole thing. He was walking. I was going to pass him as well. So she's just screaming, and they're like, they have the right of way and whatever, have fun. So she sprints past. Well, as soon as she passes me and then passes this other person that she's been yelling at, that's when they're at the halfway point, which is when her and her partner want to switch. I, in my head, had it of like, oh, I'm going to go past the halfway by 10 meters. So we're not as a track, helps out Nick a little bit, whatever. We get to the point, she puts hers down at the turnaround spot, and then her partner then needs a rest. And so they're both standing at the turnaround, blocking the entire lane, both of them with their hands on their knees. They took a 10-second rest. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of it for me. But I was like, you can't come barreling down, screaming at everybody, offended and mad, and then just sit there at the 180 mark and block it. And so, yeah.
Marlon, how many times did we hear, on your left?
On your left.
On your left. Shut up. On your left.
So many times.
On your left.
Yeah.
You guys again? You just ran 45-minute duo, so I guess that's why.
Yeah. All right. Did sandbag lunges. I was next. I didn't mind these. I mean, obviously we took in the legs, but I don't know. I guess this was the one thing that I felt real good on towards the end, or maybe it was like the light of the end of the tunnel. The thing second to last station. Yeah, the sandbag lunges. They were good to me.
0 of 5 stars. Don't
0 of 5 stars.
I am so bad relative to everything else at lunging. Like, always have been that way. Don't know why, but like, and that floor was so hard. Like it was like the carpet was like that thin, and you're like trying to go fast. I'm like slamming my knee into the ground.
Yeah.
But that's just because I'm not good at lunges. It's me being salty.
This felt like the first station that I could throw back to Nick a little bit. Like, that's for sure his forte, or he just at least puts his head down and grinds. That's one of the things that he's the best at. And so it felt like the first station, not that it wasn't kind of evenly split from there, but it felt like I'd just been picking up or trying to carry us a little bit on some of the other ones. It was the first station I was kind of like, hey man, like, you do your half, I'll do my half, and seemed to be a little better. This was also the station, again, we looked 10 minutes behind us, and one of our other coaches, his girlfriend she lives like 30 minutes away. She goes to another gym on the other side of town. Her and her sister were running it. So we're like, oh, hey, just saying, hey, as we were running into each other, and I had no idea what heat they were in. Well, this was the point in which I had realized that they were going to potentially catch us and pass us by the 10 minutes. And so I looked at Nick and I went, hey, I don't care what happens the whole rest of this race, but we are not going to lose these two. And I don't care about the 10-minute head start. They are not going to lap us and get ahead of us. Okay. And this was a station that we ran into the station and we looked at each other. He's like, okay. And so then we just dug in for the rest of it. So maybe the adrenaline took over, like you said, the light at the end of the tunnel, but we got serious again and stopped screwing around.
Yeah. Nice. And then the last one, the wall balls, to finish up 100 wall balls, just shy of Karen to end the day. This was cool. This is also great because the way this works out is like the finish line is literally right there. And you get to run up the ramp and do all that stuff. So like, and I know for us, where we ran in was really close to the finish line. So it's how just like eyeing it up the whole time, like, oh my God, when this is be done. And the counters were cool. But I know the wall balls, especially to finish it off, wasn't bad. But I say it was like a 3.5.
Wall balls are one of my favorite movements. I do like the counters. I would give the wall balls a 5. I think that's cool to finish. And I'm really glad that we didn't have to go out and run another 1,000 to finish. Like, you finish on those wall balls, because like running after the lunging is bad, and running after wall balls, I did that a couple times in training. Not many, because I knew you didn't really have to do it, but I just kind of wanted to run on tired legs. And it's enough that it's like I don't want to have to go run again. So the sprint up is good enough.
Yeah,
I like the wall balls.
This was my favorite station. I enjoy wall balls, and Nick probably does too. With the 14-pound ball, I essentially didn't even touch the 14-pound ball to the race, so it just felt super easy. It just felt like it just felt like a push press is what it felt like, because you're at that point, your legs, they're not numb, but like you're just kind of like, yeah, their legs hurt, they're tired, whatever. The only thing I don't like is trying to do wall balls in squishy shoes. That's not as fun.
Yeah.
But I want to knock it down a couple notches. We all see the videos all the time, but literally as I'm standing there waiting and Nick's doing his wall balls, I'm watching the two people right here, and neither of them are breaking 45 degrees on their squat. And I'm just kind of just like, I don't care for my ranking if we're 1 or 2 behind. It's just kind of this like eye roll thing because of the way we're programmed as CrossFitters of how much the standards mean in everything
Yeah.
that we do. It like doesn't even qualify as trying as a squat. It's not like,
Yeah.
oh, the crease versus parallel versus below. We're not playing that game. It's the like, come on, man, like let's go down. So I was pretty annoyed about that, but I loved the finish. Super cool finish. That was my favorite station. I thought that was almost the easiest station in a way, probably just because we were almost done. We didn't have of note, we did not have the counters.
Oh,
We were on more traditional targets. I think this year in Dallas, I assume they will. But I think that was
yeah.
something that kind of came out in the middle of the season. So
Hmm.
we did not. I remember watching that. He threw one up, and it was one of his early ones, like in his first 5 or 10. He threw 2 in a row where he completely airmailed it, like didn't even hit the target. And I remember him catching the ball and turning over to his judge to see if she had no repped him. And she just kept counting up like that. And he just kind of like looked over like twice. And he did this in the middle of this throw. He did this shrug thing or whatever. It just kept going. And that was just kind of the same moment that I was like watching this. And we were like, yeah, no, counts in HYROX. So I'm a little annoyed at that concept.
Yeah.
I think of all the places to improve, it would be in the standards, like the burpee comment earlier. But the standards judging would be the most place they could improve for those that like us that do care a lot about it being officially perfect.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Well, that's the race. That's what we went through. But it was a good reminisce. I like going through that. Might do that again sometime for the next one. But just to close out here, I want to give you guys a chance. If you guys have anything, if you have anything coming up, any events, or if you're going to any races in the next year or so, or the next season, I should say. Do you have a plan? You doing Dallas, Mike?
Yeah, I do.
Again?
Nick and I are signed up to do Dallas again. I wanted to do individual. And we were both kind of like, I don't know, man. We just need to run it and actually run it for real this time instead of.
Yeah.
I told him not to go to work for the 3 weeks prior to the race, and then we'd be better. So we're gonna run it back, do it the same, just so we can crush and smash our time. Houston is in the spring, so that's like a 4-ish hour drive from where we're at. I want to do that one as an individual, and this year, usually it's been like the second week of March, which has been the last 2 years in a row. It's been the last weekend of the Open. And that's just hard for us to leave our gym. You do a mystery workout on Thursday or Friday and then go do, which always seems to involve a million thrusters. Like that's just hard to go do the next day after a road trip. So, but this year they just announced it's the last weekend of March. So I feel good that that's going to be at least a weekend or 2 away from the end of the Open. So my mental plan right now is to run Houston solo. So yeah, Dallas doubles and then Houston solo. And I'd like to I was talking to a coach about this the other day, kind of the one, he likes HYROX. He's kind of really heading up the HYROX classes and coaching them. I'd really like to take a group down there and I'll get the same hotel or Airbnb or something like that. Probably hotel so people can do their own thing. But I'd like to take a group down there and carpool and make it a gym thing. That's our plan.
Nice. What you guys, what you got coming up?
Well, they just put out their whole schedule, which is cool,
Yeah.
but every city I want to go to is date TBD. I'm like, why did we do this? Why did we release a schedule and then say TBD? I would love to do the one in DC. I had a ton of family up there.
Nice.
They're coming back to Miami. We'll definitely do that one. I don't know if are they doing Chicago? Like I put the Chicago and the Dallas date were like a week apart, and Dallas tickets were like a month ago, and they haven't said anything about Chicago. And then there's a group from my gym that were like, oh, we're doing Vegas next year. And then they announced it and it's like, oh, we're doing Vegas. So I would imagine I'm going to do Vegas as well.
Oof. Nice. You doing doubles? So you can try solo?
I don't know what I'm going to do. I like the idea of doing doubles. Do I like the idea of doing it solo is a totally different workout.
Yeah.
Like I saw 120s on the rower. I won't see 140s on a rower if I do solo. I won't be sprinting with kettlebells,
Right.
I haven't decided yet. And because of the fact that there's no dates on any of them, there's no real reason to figure that out.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Yeah.
I was thinking we need to talk Will into doing a BLG trip right after whatever the Phoenix one is announced, since we're going to end up there, we'll just knock it out. 2 for 1, and then I'll rope each other into just random partner pairs of all the people and partner with somebody that you would have partnered any other way, kind of like you guys did.
Yeah. All right. Shout out Will. Get that going.
But there's no date for Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
We're actually trying.
I think they did. It's like end of January, beginning of February, something in that range.
I think Phoenix had a date. I think it was like this because I think when I first saw it, I was like, I feel like it's the same way. I know Phoenix is not. I don't know they don't have the Super Bowl this year, but it's like that same weekend. But they have the Waste Management that weekend too. It's like February. But I didn't look it up. So if you want to look it up quick, Mike.
I'll work on it while you tell us what races you're doing.
Yeah. So it was confirmed today that Chicago is going to happen and that it's coming out, like it's going to be released sometime in August. So there's hopes for that. That's really what I do is Chicago, run back Miami, whenever that is, make it from there. And I think the Chicago one, want to get it grouped down and then maybe do a relay one day, do a doubles another day for that one, and then see how I feel. And then I don't know. Every time it's just like, oh, maybe I'll try it solo, but I'll probably just end up doing a double. So that's my plan as of right now until Oz needs a partner for every one of those stops he just said.
They do have Phoenix on the schedule, January 29th through February 1st, 2026.
Okay. So it won't be, that won't be Super Bowl weekend. Okay. Very cool, man. Well, thanks you guys for coming on, talking us out. It was a lot of fun. If we wanted to get hold of yourself or your gym, where would some people find you?
817 No, I'm just kidding. I'm CrossFit OYL at CrossFit OYL on Instagram. That's probably you can get most places from there. That's probably what I would give out. If you want a personal follow, at _mustache Mike is where you're going to find me personally.
There you go.
At CrossFit DieHard, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok, X.
There you go.
LinkedIn.
All right.
LinkedIn.
Yeah. All right, boys. Well, yeah, again, thanks for coming on. It was awesome. Good luck in the training, and I'll see you guys soon.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it,
brother. Thanks for having us.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.